So first of all, welcome everybody. It's really a great honor, and I'm really, really happy to be here. I love universities, and it always makes me really happy to be back in universities, because that is where we really look at the future in a very different way and in a very open-minded way, and that really pushes going forward. So really, really happy to be here. And it's my honor to welcome you to open your imaginations and discuss together and imagine together what the future of mobility is going to be, or could be. If we look back to the automobile industry, the change drivers for the automobile industry, there's definitely been the technical developments, but it's also been related to the environment, the energy that is available, and the society needs. That's been the drivers of change for the automobile industry in the last 100 years or so. If we look 150 years ago, that was when the automobile almost first started. There were some German engineers that invented a more efficient engine, which was critical for the car invention. And 20 years later, because changes in the automobile industry seem to happen almost every 20 years. Almost every 20 years, there's a leap forward in the automobile industry. So 20 years later, after that first engine was invented in Germany, another German, Carl Benz, from Mercedes, afterwards would be Mercedes, he built a motor car with an engine power with a much more efficient gasoline engine. And then 1 year later, Daimler and Carl Benz, they developed the first real automobiles. And then that was obviously a very, very important step. But when it really, really started moving forward was 20 years afterwards again. That was early 20th century when Henry Ford introduced the Model T, and which was a first affordable and made in series type of car. And he made that sentence that is quite famous, or it's become kind of a cliche. Some people say he didn't say that. That if he had asked consumers what they wanted, consumers would have said a faster horse. So he actually just developed the car. He thought that society needed that. Then it was after 20 years after Ford invented the mass production of cars and made it affordable for society, then we started to see the first brands that will become famous later appear. And then it was just shortly after, around the Second World War, when also in Europe, in Germany in particular, that affordability and became even more popular with the Beetle, the Volkswagen, which in German actually means the car of the people. That became really when the car started being something essential for society, and everybody had to have a car. Then 20 years later again, we look again into the future, more brands started to grasp the needs of the consumers, and then we have in the 70s the oil crisis, and then other type of concerns became important for consumers. And then the Japanese cars responded very well to those needs. They were more efficient, they were more affordable, they were cheaper, and that was when the Japanese car industry started taking a leap forward. Then we come to the 90s, and another set of concerns start appearing in society with environmental concerns and whatnot. And then luxury cars also started to take off. When luxury cars before were something very, very limited and very, very exclusive, luxury cars really became something much more broadly available. And here we are today, when concerns are appearing again, and when we're seeing the age of the electric car, right? But if you probably don't know, many of you, that actually electric cars or electric engines appear first than gasoline engines, but they were not so efficient, and they were not as fast. So they were dismissed back in the day. And it's now with this new set of concerns that electric cars and electric engines are again really, really important. And well, so important that in fact in 2035 in China, gasoline engines will be completely banned. So that will be a massive change that we don't even need to wait another 20 years for. It won't be just in China. I think in Europe, depends on the markets, around the 30s or the 50s, gasoline cars also will disappear. So the world is living a revolution with electric vehicles. But there's much more than that. We live in an era of AI. There's many startups as well thinking about flying taxis. There's plenty of possibilities. There's plenty of new things that only 10 years ago we couldn't imagine. You think about Didi, Uber, and what that means for mobility. There's discussions whether we will even own cars in the future. So the future is open. The future is for us to imagine together, for us to discover, and I'm very, very excited today to be here and see what we discuss together on how we imagine together what the future of the automobile and mobility in general will be. So thank you again, and looking forward to the discussions later. Thank you.
谢谢侯赛。所以我们在这里享受中国速度在这个未来出行的变革中，这是我们的幸运，也是我们的责任。所以非常荣幸今天有这样的一天。